So, John, role of the media in what happened.
I almost don't know where to begin.
Right.
And so I'll begin with our president-elect, Donald Trump. A reality TV star, a person literally coming from the media. It's often said he's a billionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire. He may or may not be. There's a lot of questions about that. And there's a lot of other things said about him. But the bottom line is we know him as a media personality. He's actually a great modern media multitasker. He writes books. He's on TV. He tweets. He has every structure of modern media. Donald Trump's in the middle of it. And he runs for president. And I would suggest to you that Donald Trump is an expert on media. When you're around media for a long time, you actually you may not spend a lot of time thinking about it, but you get bored doing something else, you kind of look up and you kind of pay attention to what's going on. I think Donald Trump figured out two things going into the 2016 election. First, I think he figured out that the Republican Party is a false construct. That at the top you have a group of billionaires and very wealthy people proposing policies that are fabulous for Wall Street. And then at the base you have a lot of voters who are working class, even poor, who are very concerned about social issues and a host of other matters. And for years they got away with saying, you got to vote for us to get what you want on guns and other issues, and don't pay attention to what we do over on bailing out the banks and all that stuff. And Donald Trump figured out he could get between the elites and the base and say, those guys are lying to you, and that the base would nominate him, and they did. That was the key to his getting to the first tier. I think the key to his getting to the second tier, which relates to this, is his other great calculus. And that is that the media in the United States has, in an era when advertising dollars have fled, and you get your ads in the phone more and more, when we have made newspapers into little shreds, you can make what used to hit your porch and break the pavement, now hits your porch and gets blown away if someone sneezes. So newspapers have declined and diminished, and with them the major newsrooms of our cities. The 1996 Telecommunications Act made radio conglomerated, allowed you to go own as many radio stations as you wanted across the country, to own massive concentrations in cities. It led to syndication of radio personalities and the development of an ideological rather than a news-based radio local personality. So you had all these things happen, right? But what he figured out best? Cable TV and broadcast TV. And he figured out that they're so desperate for those ratings in an era when our media system is just pulling apart and going in every direction, that it has become a dumb beast. And if you put food out for the dumb beast every morning, it will come and eat whatever you put out. And if someone in the afternoon says, yeah, but you know that guy who's feeding you, he's feeding you poison. He's literally teaching you to hate your neighbors. He's telling you not to pay attention to the realities of your economic circumstance and to blame an immigrant for it, or a refugee, or a woman, or a person of color, to blame somebody else for something that the billionaires are doing. And Donald Trump knew that was a risk. And he said, no problem. If need be, I'll put out another plate of gruel in the afternoon, and the dumb beast will eat from that. If you chart this campaign, what you will see is when Donald Trump got in trouble, when there was a scandal, and boy, there were a lot of them, he would tweet something even more obnoxious. He would tweet something on another topic or something more extreme, and the dumb beast would run desperately after whatever was put out there. And so this is the way to understand our contemporary media system. It is a dumb beast media at the elite level, at the top level, and it is ripe for exploitation in a circumstance like this. It creates results. We're not even talking at this, all the base levels that folks here are talking about. I'm just going to give you this one top line reality. In December, this is what Mary was referencing here. In December of 2015, you had two candidates who were shaking up their political parties, two candidates for president. Donald Trump on the Republican side, and Bernie Sanders on the Democratic side. There's a thing called the Tyndall Report. They analyze evening news. They see how many minutes are devoted to each candidate. Now, you have to have just a tiny bit of background here. And in the end of 2013, Trump and Sanders were polling almost exactly at the same level, about a third of the vote nationally. They were both doing better than expected in the early primary states and early caucus states, especially New Hampshire and Iowa. They were actually at about the same place. Very different fields. Sanders challenging Hillary Clinton. You had then with Trump challenging a large field of Republicans. But the bottom line is that they were about the same place. And yet, this little fact, what Tyndall determined was that, just to use ABC Evening News as an example, the ratio of minutes devoted to Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders was 80 to 1. 80 to 1. But Media Matters then went in and analyzed that, and they said, oh, hold it. Tyndall didn't really go in that very deep because we found the 1 minute that was devoted to Bernie Sanders, but it was only a 20-second segment. And so the ratio was 240 to 1. Brothers and sisters, I don't care who you backed. I don't care if you were a Republican, Democrat. I don't care if you're in the Democratic side, if you were for Clinton or you were for Sanders or you were for Martin O'Malley or wherever you are at. I don't care if you're green, whatever, libertarian, whatever you are. If you don't believe that a 240 to 1 ratio doesn't create reality, then you are fooling yourselves. And the bottom line is this. Donald Trump would not be president of the United States or going on to be president of the United States if we had a media that simply covered politics in anything near a fair and balanced way.
Okay, that was great.